Let's go.
AITA for not shutting my kid up when she was asking questions about my friend's relationship. I, 35F, and my husband, 36M, have a 5-year-old daughter. Recently, she found our wedding album and has been absolutely obsessed with weddings and everything to do with them. She's been asking us a bunch of questions. For example, why we got married. We've just been answering that we love each other a lot and thought it was right for us. Recently, a friend of ours invited us to their 6th-year wedding anniversary party. The friend who was hosting the party and I are a part of a pretty large female friendship group that started in our law school days. All of us are either married with children, engaged, or in a relationship of some sort. Mandy, 35F, is a part of this friendship group and is in a relationship with Baz, 38M. Mandy and Baz have been together for almost 8 years now. For the past 5, Mandy has been expressing to us that she really wants to get married, but Baz is very avoidant about it. To the point that when it's brought up, he just says, "It's just a piece of paper," and "I don't need the government's approval to love you." Despite us gently suggesting that he might be unserious about her, and that if they have different views on marriage, they shouldn't be together, she insists they are meant to be and that he'll come to his senses. At the party, all of the couples and kids were invited, and my daughter was over the moon about all the wedding stuff. Mandy eventually strikes up a conversation with my daughter about school and such. My kid notices Baz and Mandy together and asks if they are married. Why they aren't married when they will get married in a very awkward W ven vilju ver W vigs type manner. I was nearby and overheard the conversation and immediately tried to change the subject, apologized, as I knew this was a touchy subject for Mandy. I made her apologize to Mandy for being nosy, but then she kinda snaps back at my daughter saying, "Well, we aren't married because I truly love him, and I'm not a gold digger, lol." Some context. My husband is a very successful architect, and his family comes from some wealth. My family is the opposite, with me being a first-generation law student. I had opened up to Mandy in the past that I was worried to meet my husband's family, in case they think I'm just with him for his money, and got nervous about what people thought once they knew I didn't originally come from wealth. I love my husband, have a great relationship with his family, and I'm very successful in my field as well, but I knew the comment was directed at me. She is the breadwinner in her relationship and has made snarky comments to me before about the size of my ring and how it looks too big and greedy, and will opt for a different style when her and Baz get married. She has even implied that my husband is unattractive and made a comment that I only got pregnant early into the marriage because I wanted to seal that generational wealth down with a baby when I announced my pregnancy. Each time I kinda laughed it off and moved on, except for the last comment, which I shut down hard and kinda scared her out of saying anything else until this party. Everyone else there also overheard the conversation and knew the context of that comment, and the room just kinda went silent and awkward. It was the end of the party, so we kinda just left and said goodbye to the host. That was about 2 days ago. Today she sent me a message saying people were texting her, that what she said wasn't cool and that she should apologize. She gave a very half-assed apology and said that she probably wouldn't have said anything if I had just shut my kid up earlier. To that, I responded to not ever shit-talk my kid, and that I wanted space from her, and said that this broke the camel's back, as it was said to my daughter. I told the other friends about the text, and thankfully they backed me up, and told her she was being a bitch. I think they were riding her so hard, because a lot of the friend group were also first-generation students with equally successful partners. She sent a follow-up apology that was slightly more sincere and asked me to get people off her back. My husband is equally as mad, but said to maybe cut her a little slack because she is in such a shit place in her relationship and is projecting out of fear. The comment really hurt my feelings, but I knew she was in a tough place with Baz and probably could have controlled my daughter a little earlier. So, AITA? Update posted IDK how Reddit works, but it was too long, so I made a new post. AITA has no consensus bot. OOP received mixed reactions. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. This is why kids perhaps do not belong at gatherings like this. OP. I do get it, and trust me, I'm not the type of parent that just brings her kid everywhere, but all of the couples that had kids were invited to bring their kids. I even asked the hosts when they were planning the party if they were sure they wanted kids there, and they said yes because they wanted a laid back family barbecue vibe. OOP's thoughts on Baz. OOP. I do think there is some truth to what you're saying as I don't like Baz, because I think he really isn't too nice to Mandy. I do agree, marriage isn't the end, all be all. But for Mandy, it 100% is. Which is why I don't think her and Baz are a great match, and have told her so. I've held on to the friendship with Mandy so long, because we have such a long history together, but I do think it might be time to go our separate ways. We have explained to our kid about same-sex couples, divorce, etc. before, but I should clarify, she is mostly obsessed with the wedding parts of marriage and hasn't really fully grasped what it actually means yet. OOP responds to a comment regarding not using her daughter as the messenger regarding Mandy's relationship. P. Although I do have my opinions about her relationship, I do not talk about any of that with or around my daughter. 'Cause it's adults' business. I would never use my daughter as any sort of messenger. And all opinions I have on Mandy's relationship, I have relayed to Mandy face to face when she has requested it. OOOP. Should it keep her opinions to herself when it comes to Mandy's relationship, or someone else's, since she pointed out critiques of the relationship? OOP. That is a fair opinion, but I will also clarify that I intervened as soon as I realized my daughter wasn't just asking one question on the subject. And as I said in the post, I tried to veer her away from the conversation. And after that didn't work, I made her apologize for being nosy. Mandy was still my friend, and regardless of my opinion, it was still a sore spot for her. I would never want to intentionally make my friend upset to get a point across. OP provides an example of the conversation between her daughter and Mandy. OP. Let me clarify, I intervened by trying to essentially redirect my daughter to a different area of the party to not make things too awkward. But in typical curious kid fashion, they were rapid fast. It kinda went like this. Daughter, are you married? Mandy, haha, no. Me. Walks over, insert daughter's name. Come try the insert party food with me. Daughter. Virtually ignores me. Why aren't you guys married? Me. Daughter name. Simon, let's go. I try to pull her away. Mandy. Awkward chuckling. I then interrupted my daughter before she could fully get the third question out. But context clues made it obvious that she was about to ask if they were going to get married soon after I cut her off. I made her apologize for being too nosy. My thinking was that if I focus on redirecting her train of thought, instead of scolding her in front of everyone, it would make things slightly less awkward. I do admit I could have put in more effort into cutting the questions off immediately. Update. 4 days later. I originally wasn't going to update on the situation, because I was honestly just going to ghost Mandy for a while and just forget about this whole thing. But I read some of the comments and decided to talk to my daughter. My husband and I sat her down and talked to her about how there are many different types of relationships, because there are many different types of people. We told her some people want to get married, some don't, and that's okay. And how getting married isn't just about a wedding, it's a big commitment to another person. We also said that people can have long and happy relationship without getting married, and that isn't something to look down on people on. We also said that it is ultimately her choice to decide if she ever wants to get married in the future, and we would support her no matter what. We then explained that being curious and asking questions is a good thing, but marriage and weddings can be very personal for a lot of people, and if they don't want to talk about it, to respect that. She seemed to understand, and still loves weddings, and looks at my husband and I's wedding album often, but had thankfully chilled out a lil. I was still a bit confused on what to do about Mandy, as I had some mixed opinions in the comments. I did get a few that stuck with me asking why we are even friends if she doesn't like me. I didn't want to confront the issue again, but in the past few days, I found out I'm pregnant with a second kid. After the initial joy with my husband surpassed a little, I got sad thinking about this drama, and thinking about how I only wanted people around me who wholeheartedly supported me. I ended up sending a MSG to Mandy, asking to meet up for a coffee. When I met her, I told her that we had been friends a long time, but her past comments about me hurt. I apologized for my daughter at the party, but that didn't make her comment okay. I also apologized if I ever came off to her as being judgmental or unapproving of her relationship with Baz, and that I only wanted her to be happy, and if she is, I completely support her. I then told her about the pregnancy and said that if she didn't like me, that was her prerogative, but I only wanted people around me that support me in this period of my life. She took it in and actually apologized for her comments and admitted that they were mean-spirited. She felt that because of her family, she's always had pressure to live up to traditional family life, even though she didn't want to, and was happy with the way things were with Baz. I was happy we reached some sort of understanding, but things took a turn for the worst. She confessed that she purposely started saying mean comments to prevent me from falling into the stay-at-home mom trap. I was confused, and she clarified that two other women in the group have done the same after having children, and she predicted that I would go down the same route, so to protect me. After I got engaged, she started indirectly shaming me in hopes I wouldn't quit my job to take care of my kids. I have never once said I wanted to be a stay-at-home mother, BTW. I told her that was fucking crazy, and that I never once said I wanted to stop working because I love my job. She said that was a good thing, but she thought I would, because of how often I talk about my daughter, and how in her eyes I crave the validation of my husband too much. I said that she was being mean, and that I've treasured her friendship for a long time, but I need to think about if it was worth saving. I'm now in my car typing this head spinning. I don't want to be her friend anymore, but I'm scared that other people might shame me into it because of the baby coming. What do I do? Top comments. Commenter 1. It sounds like this meetup with Mandy was a sincere attempt on your part, but everything she said, the pressure from her parents, and the supposed plan to save you from a trap, was all just her looking for ways to deflect the responsibility for what she did. It shows that her so-called apology is not sincere at all. It is completely reasonable that you don't want to be her friend anymore, because it is clear that she is not your friend, she sees and hasn't been in a long time. Commenter 2. Commenter 2. Go low contact. When asked by other people, just reply with answers like, "We have some disagreements," or "too busy." Depends on who is asking. As a mom of two, and never once wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, what Mandy said only confirmed that 1. She is rude, 2. She is full of biases, and 3. She does not know you at all. This is no friend of yours. It's time to drop some dead weight. You'll find life so much better after that. Commenter 3. Please reread what you wrote while imagining your daughter going through the same experience with a friend. Would you tell her to forgive the same manipulation, aggression, and cruelty? Would you worry about this clearly damaged person being around your granddaughter and soon-to-be grandchild? Protect yourself like you would protect your children. Update #2. 1 week later. Hello everyone, this is the last time I'm going to update on the situation because I've decided the stress isn't worth it. These last few days, I've been making all the calls and visits to my close friends and family to announce the pregnancy, so pretty much everyone in my circle knows now. People have just been wanting to talk about the baby, so no one has asked about all the Mandy stuff, thankfully. I met up with one of my closest friends in the group recently. I told her what happened the last time I saw Mandy, and she was just as gobsmacked as I was. I told her I'm going to be taking some space from Mandy in this whole drama to focus on the pregnancy. Even though I didn't really want to hear about it, my friend gave me some new info on Mandy and Baz. Apparently they are going through it, RAN, and close to breaking up. It's gotten bad enough that Baz has temporarily moved back in with his mother. According to my friend, Mandy decided to have a serious talk with Baz about marriage, and she told him that she was okay with never getting married. Baz then kind of freaked out and accused her of cheating because he thinks her not wanting to get married anymore means there has to be someone else, and/or she has lost interest, which is dumb. He apparently won't listen to reasons, so they are taking some time apart. I feel sad for her, but it's not my focus anymore. and I hope Mandy just ends up happy. I'm thriving with my family, focusing on getting through these early pregnancy days and spending time with the people who support me. Thanks for all the advice. Ida for refusing to wear a wig in my brother's wedding. Not the a-hole. I, 23F, have decided not to wear a wig in my brother's wedding. When he proposed, I was thrilled. I cheered them on from my dorm room. But this wedding has stressed everyone out, and for me, it's come to a breaking point. At the first bridal event, the bride handed out experience packages for her bridesmaids up to $3,000, including a destination trip. I'm a recent college grad with an entry-level salary. We discussed hairstyles. The bridal party agreed on updos, given the humidity. Months later, the bride texts me that she changed the style and wants me to wear wig. I had recently done a big chop and dyed my natural hair, a major milestone for me. I asked if braids were okay. She said no, followed by texts about uniformity. I asked her to send wig details. She didn't for months. After her bridal shower, she asked if I'd bought a wig, told me the stylist cost, and when I didn't respond fast enough, she still signed a contract with the stylist. I tried to compromise. I'd install the wig myself and have the stylist style it. She said no. Her stylist wouldn't work behind anyone else's install. I said I was uncomfortable with both the price and process. She replied, "Because you cut and dyed your hair, there are now extra costs for uniformity." Okay. In therapy, I shared how I've often felt like the family scapegoat. My boundaries defiance. My therapist said, "When people get used to you performing, they raise the bar every time." My gut said, "I'm not wearing the wig." I explained this to my parents. My mom called me selfish. My dad said, "You were a child. You couldn't say no." Then added, "If the bride doesn't get what she wants, you're out of the wedding party." I texted the bride. She respected my decision, but I could support from the crowd. I responded, "What stings is being told I can only stay if I change everything about how I show up. That's not unity, that's control. I love you, but won't disappear." She forwarded it to my family. She's been very controlling. Others have clashed with her, and her maid of honor dropped out. My brother says she talks negatively about our family. When I brought that up, my dad shouted that no one's on my side and blamed my mental health. I was told I shouldn't attend the wedding at all. My brother said he didn't care if I was in the wedding party, which lifted some guilt. I told him I'll still show up as myself. Insert edit. The bride finally sent a message saying I was condescending. My choice was last minute. She's the center of this new chapter. The Bible says the wife comes first, and I kicked myself out. I responded with truth. I'd expressed discomfort early on. My words weren't cruel, they were clarifying. I shared scripture, Ephesians 5. Respect goes both ways. I respect their marriage, but I respect myself more. She sent it to my brother. He texted me, "I love you, but she comes first. If you can't fall in line, you're out. No more discussion." AITA for refusing to wear a wig and standing in my truth. Edit. I should note that once my brother said he didn't care if I was in the party, I agreed and said I would sit in the audience and support him. This is my only brother a sibling. So see, I want to be in his wedding. Update. Hi everyone. First, I just want to thank you all for your comments, insights, and support. This has been such a wild and isolating experience, and it's helped more than you know. I'm currently in a different state from my family, but will be returning tomorrow. I got my hair done yesterday. A sew-in at a salon I have history with. It was a last-minute appointment, so the color turned out a bit louder than expected, but it's cute and professionally styled. Recently, the bride mentioned that colored hair was acceptable as long as it was in a ponytail, so I did just that. It fits me, and I was glad that I invested in the style. Along with photos of my hair, I sent a message to my family and the bride. It was sincere and calm. I expressed that I wasn't trying to make this wedding about me, that being given an ultimatum over my own body felt frightening, and that I've never had an issue with the bride personally. But she doesn't get to control what goes on my head, especially if she isn't open to compromises or helping financially. My brother replied, You have eliminated your chance for recourse with how you have acted with everything. You're out. That's final. I replied, Okay. I've been focused on taking care of my mental health and processing things in a way that's healthy for me. But when I called my mom tonight and asked about the wedding, she said the same things I've been hearing, that I'm being dramatic, trying to mess up the day, and that I'll make a big scene. She and my dad seem to be trying to stand up to me now, likely because they know how it might look if I'm not in the wedding, but it doesn't feel like it's coming from a genuineness. It feels performative. Some commenters asked if I had a relationship with the bride. I believe I've tried. I even opened up to her about a painful situation from college, something deeply personal and shaming. I was hoping for understanding, or at least compassion. But tonight, my mom told me the bride is now uncomfortable having me at the wedding because of that vulnerability. Some people have said that my message to her when she kicked me out made it seem like I dragged this out. Maybe I did. But for me, marriage is deeply sacred. My parents have been married for almost 40 years, grandparents close to 70 years, and that legacy means something to me. I want to be married someday too, not just to have a wedding, but to build something real, lasting, and rooted in love. That's why I've given so many chances. That's why I've tried so hard to show up, even when I felt pushed aside, because I cherish family, and I wanted to believe they cherished me too. Lasting and rooted in love. That's why I've given so many chances. That's why I've tried so hard to show up, even when I felt pushed aside, because I cherish family, and I wanted to believe they cherished me too.